Hello YouTubers. Alright, so we're continuing with the build of the house. From one of my previous videos you may remember them installed the front door, and I want to have a nice handle, and I looked around, I couldn't find the one I really liked, so I decided to make my own. So I found this beautiful piece of walnut board and asked the guys to cut it up into 2" by 2" square bar. And that's what I've decided to make the handle out of. I just love the grain of the walnut, especially if you get the type where you have the dark and light kind of go in between. It's amazing. Before I start, digging into the pieces that I've got, are kind of expensive and nice looking, so I didn't want to mess it up. So I've decided to make a test bar out of crappy wood. So I'm just cutting it up, and I've set the size so it's exactly to the 2" bars that I have. So I'll do all kinds of experimenting on that piece before I touch the real one. I just want to mention here again that it's not that I don't have anything else to do. I have lots to do, in fact, but I really wanted this to stand out, this handle of the door. So, and I looked around, especially locally, nothing that really they were either metal or brushed metal or aluminum, and I really wanted to go with wood, and I think wood and metal combination, they were great. So I'm cutting the groove in the middle across the length. The idea here is that I'm going to have a square bar, metal bar, sitting in the middle for strength. Even though it's thick enough, I don't think it needs any strength to it. But the main reason is the construction side. So there's some way to attach this metal piece to the door and then attach this wooden piece to that metal piece. So it's really to hide, obviously, any kind of screw and attachment points. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So here I'm adjusting the width of the table saw, so it cuts, obviously. So you cut the channel, you make a cut on one side, and then you turn the wood around, and then you do the other side, and then you adjust the saw again until, by little you cut the whole groove from either side. So I tried with the test piece that I just made, and it turned out okay. So now I'm going for the real one. So here I'm widening the gap. So obviously the wider it is, the closer to the center it gets. So that's kind of how I'm creeping up to the center of this, taking out the whole middle section. So I have the groove now, I'm just cleaning it up, but I forgot what either it wasn't deep enough or it wasn't clean enough, so I've decided to kind of go over with a router, a straight bit router, to kind of make a cleaner cut in the center. The metal bar slides right in without any problems, so that was good news. I was kind of afraid how it was going to fit, but it turned out fine. Now I'm cutting the ends. First of all, I wanted to make it just a bit shorter, just I took off a couple of inches from each side, and because the ends were split, and that's one of the reasons I'm also making the end caps out of metal. So one, it's going to protect the end so it doesn't split, and the second one is that's how I'm going to assemble the final piece onto the door itself. So here, because I have to fit these end caps, the metal tubing has its own thickness, right? So that's the thickness I have to take off at the end, so it slides onto it, and the outside width remains the same flush with a wooden piece. So that's what I'm doing here. By the way, guys, if you noticed my garage, it's a mess. My table, everything is a mess. I have to bring everything into the garage. So they were laying down some pipes, the water pipes and the heating, and that's probably going to be my short update in the next video. But all that's done. Good news. I didn't have time to show. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to film it because they were working during the weekend and when I was at work, but it took them like 3 days to finish it. So in the next video I'm just gonna show you what they did. It looks nice and it works. And here's how I'm making the end cap. I'm just leaving the width of the square tubing itself out, cutting out 3 sides with my angle grinder, and then just running a line not all the way through so it bends easily at that straight line. So I'm clamping the end here so when I weld it doesn't twist on me. You know how if you weld it before, you know that every time you have a piece that you're attaching, you kind of have to be careful. It has to be secure enough so it doesn't twist apart. A little cleanup with my grinding disc, and it looks nice. Now keep in mind, so I have 2 end caps for each handle, so that's 4, and then I have similar 4 pieces, and that piece is gonna hold that handle to the door. And you'll see why I'm drilling holes here. That's how it's gonna attach to the door. So I'll just let you watch the video, you'll understand what I'm doing, but the idea here is the same. So overall I'm making 8 pieces, those end caps type of looking thingies. As you see here, my vise is a piece of crap. I obviously need to get a new one. So I'm welding the screw in one of the holes, so a pair is gonna have, so one handle's gonna have screws and it's gonna go through the door, and from the other side you're gonna have the same idea but with, I'm gonna hold it tightened with nuts. So, and that piece with screw is gonna be the outside one, so it can be assembled fully and installed on the door from the front side and the back. You'll see how it's going to be assembled at the end, but the idea is pretty simple, but they're identical except for one side has screws, the other one will have nuts. So here I'm drilling holes for these caps to mount to this metal square bar, and I'm also going to have wooden screws going through that. I'm going to have holes in that bar again, so it goes through it and then attaches wood to that bar. So it's pretty secure. I think it's first of all, the wood itself is, like I said in the beginning, is going to have enough strength so it doesn't break. I just feel a little more comfortable having this square bar running through it. One, for just a little bit of strength, and so it doesn't maybe even warp. I don't know, I'm not a woodworker. I don't know if this piece would want to warp. So this piece of metal will kind of hold it, and secondly, obviously, for the assembly, I will need some kind of mounting points. So obviously, because it's going to from the back side, so you don't feel with your hand, it's going to be countersunk. All the holes are going to be done that way, so the screws disappear inside. So with every piece that I'm building, obviously I'm putting it together, make sure it fits, and then taking it apart. So it went back and forth several times, assembling and disassembling this piece. But now it's time for me to drill the holes, so they're exactly to the holes that match for the caps, and I'm gonna tap them so the screws will, you're beginning to understand how it's gonna work, right? So these caps are gonna go on top and the bottom, and then with screws they're gonna hold to that metal bar that's inside, kind of like a truss that's going inside of that main wooden piece. You can see how dusty I am, all the dust falling off my shirt. Yeah, that's part of the woodworking. Now I'm spot welding these other two pairs of square pieces onto that truss. Don't worry, the wood's not going to get burned, just a spot welding. I'm going to take it out and then fully weld it. But you're beginning to probably understand how it's all going to look at the end. So you have this male and female part. The male goes through fully assembled from the front, and female is going to be assembled, first tightened and then assembled from the back side inside of the house. And there they are after welding and grinding. And this is how they're gonna go into each other. Imagine the door being sandwiched in between. And it's pretty much done. All I've got to do now is clean up the wood, paint the metal pieces, and I'm gonna drill holes into the door. So I'm measuring twice before I drill the door. Make sure I want to line up right in the middle of the door. Even though the lock is not in the middle, it's a little bit on the bottom, about 2/3, maybe 2/5 or so, but the handle is going to be right in the middle of the door. So I'm gonna test it out, make sure I did it right, and looks like it fits. So I'm pretty happy, and it's done pretty much. All I gotta do now is make it look pretty. It looks pretty big, I think, but on the other hand it's a massive door, so I think that it matches as far as the size of it. And now I'm gonna round the corners with a round over bit. Again, the metal caps, they also have round corners, so I'm trying to match that roundness so it kind of flows as one piece from metal to the wood. Except for a couple of places where the square attachment is going to be, because if you round over that part, then you're going to have a gap in between that square tubing and the wood itself, so that has to be flush, but every other part, corner is round over. Oh, the sanding, the part I enjoyed the most. Oh, I hate it. But you can't, you gotta do it. It takes forever, it's very tedious, but you gotta do it. And the more you do it, the better it'll look. So then the painting. You can see the weather is nice, finally. It's not raining, I'm happy, because it's been raining every weekend, but it's gonna continue throughout June anyway, I think. And after that, we're gonna get some hot July and August. And to finish the wood, I'm using 50-50 mix of mineral oil and beeswax. You melt them together, you mix them, and when it cools down, it becomes kind of like a butterish consistency to it, and it protects the wood really well. You can reapply that from time to time, but I like it better than any other lacquer or anything else that I've used in the wood before, because it's natural, it soaks in, and it protects pretty well. So as I said before, I'm assembling the front part, or the male part, because that can just go through the door, and the female part, again, you have to mount the metal part and then put the wood on top, and then the end caps, and obviously screws from behind, and that's how it's gonna sit. So no screws are showing from either side. My apologies here for the shot. I didn't realize the sun was shining through and you can't really see well, but you can imagine how it's done. So I mounted the metal bar with the mounting caps. That's one piece, and then I put the wooden piece and mounted with the brackets, or the end caps. And this is it, guys. I hope you liked the video. I like it. It turned out great, especially the wood and metal mix. I love the combination, and I really, I couldn't find one like that, and this is exactly what I wanted, especially the look of the walnut. It turned out great, I think. So let me know what you think, and if you like the video and would like to see more, please subscribe and comment any kind of comment. I would love to receive your feedback. So until next time, take care.